Today, we are going to dive into the world of offensive versus defensive cybersecurity. When we talk about cybersecurity, we often think about preventing bad actors from breaking into our systems. But there is much more to it. We can either play defense and protect our systems, or go on the offensive and actively seek out vulnerabilities. Throughout this session, we'll be comparing both approaches, understanding the key roles, and looking at the tools used on either side. Offensive security is all about protective penetration testers, red teamers, and ethical hackers, and they're always on the hunt for weaknesses. On the flip side, defensive cybersecurity focuses on protecting the systems in place, monitoring threats, and responding quickly when something goes wrong. As we go through the slides, keep in mind that both approaches are crucial to maintaining a secure environment. Let's kick off by defining offensive cybersecurity. This approach is proactive, aiming to uncover vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. And think of it as a preemptive strike, where ethical hackers simulate real-world attacks to find weaknesses. The goal here is not to cause damage, but to improve the overall security posture of the organization. What's fascinating about offensive cybersecurity is how it constantly evolves. Hackers, and by extension ethical hackers, they're always coming up with new techniques to exploit systems. Offensive cybersecurity professionals need to stay ahead by learning how to think like an attacker. So if you're someone who likes to think outside the box and get creative with problem solving, offensive cybersecurity could be right up your alley. On the other hand, defensive cybersecurity is all about protecting systems and data from attacks. This is more reactive in nature, meaning it responds to threats in real time. Defensive teams rely on tools like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and security information event management, just to monitor and to secure networks. But it's not just about putting up barriers. Defensive cybersecurity is constantly evolving too. It requires continuous improvement. New threats emerge every day, and defensive strategies need to adapt to stay effective. And think of this role as a guardian, protecting the gates, always vigilant and ready to act when something suspicious happens. Now let's talk about the key players in offensive cybersecurity. First, we have penetration testers. These professionals simulate cyber attacks to identify vulnerabilities in systems, in networks, and applications. And then there are bug bounty hunters. And these are independent security researchers who find and report vulnerabilities in exchange for rewards. Red team members are also critical players. These are advanced penetration testers who conduct more complex, multi-layered attack simulations. And their role is to test an organization's defense thoroughly and to identify weak points that might be exploited by malicious actors. It's a challenging but rewarding field for those who enjoy tackling security from an attacker's mindset. On the defensive side, we have security analysts, and these experts are on the front lines, monitoring systems for any signs of suspicious activity and responding to incidents as they happen. They'll work closely with network administrators who maintain and secure the network infrastructure, ensuring it's resilient against attacks. Security policy makers, they also play a crucial role. They develop the rules and guidelines that govern cybersecurity practices within an organization. Without strong policies in place, even the best security technologies can fall short. And these professionals ensure that everyone is following best practices and that the organization is compliant with legal and regulatory requirements. So let's move on to the tools that offensive cybersecurity professionals use. One key tool is vulnerability scanners. These are automated tools designed to identify weaknesses in systems and applications. Another important tool is exploitation frameworks like Metasploit, which enable attackers to develop and execute exploits against discovered vulnerabilities. And social engineering toolkits are also a big part of offensive security, and these are used to test the human element of security. Think phishing emails or phone calls designed to trick employees into giving up sensitive information. Human error is often the weakest link in security, so testing this aspect is essential for a comprehensive security strategy. On the defensive side, the tools are a bit different. Firewalls are one of the most well-known tools, and they act as a barrier between trusted internal networks and untrusted external ones. Intrusion detection systems are another key defensive tool. They monitor network traffic and alert security teams to suspicious activity. Security information and event management systems are also important. They collect and analyze log data from across an organization's IT infrastructure, helping detect potential security incidents and allowing for a quicker response. These tools work together to create a strong defensive posture against cyber attacks. Penetration testing is a crucial part of offensive cybersecurity. It begins with reconnaissance, gathering information about the target system or network. Once enough data is collected, the next step is scanning, where testers look for open ports and services that might be vulnerable. After scanning, penetration testers move to the exploitation phase, where they try to exploit discovered vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access. If successful, the post-exploitation phase involves maintaining access and gathering additional information about the compromised system. The goal is to find as many vulnerabilities as possible so they can be fixed before an actual attacker finds them. Incident response is at the core of defensive cybersecurity. It starts with preparation, developing incident response plans and training personnel on how to act when a security incident occurs. Once an incident is detected, the next step is detection, which involves analyzing potential threats to determine whether they are legitimate. The containment phase comes next. This involves isolating affected systems to prevent the attack from spreading further. After containment, the focus shifts to eradication, where the threat is removed and systems are restored to normal operation. Incident response is all about limiting damage and getting the organization back on track as quickly as possible. Ethical considerations are a significant part of offensive cybersecurity. One key factor is operating within legal boundaries. Even though ethical hackers are often testing vulnerabilities, it's crucial they have the proper authorization. Unauthorized hacking, even with good intentions, is still illegal, so having clear agreements and scope definitions is essential. Responsible disclosure is another critical consideration. When an ethical hacker finds a vulnerability, it's important that they report it through the right channels and not publicly expose it. And this ensures that organizations have a chance to fix the issue before malicious actors can exploit it. The goal in offensive security is always to help improve defenses and not to cause harm. On the defensive side, privacy protection is a big ethical concern. While defensive teams are monitoring for threats, they must also balance that with respecting user privacy. Overly invasive monitoring can violate ethical standards and even legal regulations like GDPR. Data handling is another important aspect. Security teams often deal with sensitive data, and mishandling the data can lead to privacy breaches or to misuse. Transparency is key. Organizations should be upfront about how they handle security and what kind of monitoring takes place. People have a right to know how their data is being protected and what steps are being taken to ensure their privacy. Red teams play a unique role in offensive cybersecurity by reducing advanced simulation that mimics sophisticated cyber attacks. And these aren't your standard tests. They involve complex, multi-layered attack scenarios that challenge an organization's defenses to the limit. Red teams think and act like real adversaries to expose vulnerabilities that would otherwise go unnoticed. And what makes red teams particularly valuable is their ability to create realistic scenarios. And these exercises often include everything from phishing attempts to physical security tests, giving organizations a full picture of where their weaknesses lie. The insights gained from red team exercises are invaluable for continuously improving security measures. In contrast, blue teams focus on proactive defense, and they're responsible for continuously monitoring and improving security measures within an organization. Blue teams work hard to detect and prevent attacks before they even occur, often relying on threat intelligence and advanced monitoring tools to stay ahead of potential risks. When an attack does happen, blue teams are the ones leading the charge in responding to it, and they handle incident response, containment, and recovery. Their work doesn't end when the attack is stopped. They also focus on strengthening the security infrastructure to prevent future incidents. In many ways, blue teams are the backbone of an organization's security posture. Now, let's compare the skills and mindset required for offensive versus defensive cybersecurity. Offensive security professionals need to be creative, always thinking outside the box to find weaknesses. And they're the ones developing exploits and using coding to find vulnerabilities. It's a fast-paced and short-term engagement style where the goal is to get in and expose weaknesses quickly. Defensive security professionals, on the other hand, are more analytical and systematic, and they're focused on long-term, continuous protection. And their key skills include log analysis, threat hunting, and real-time incident response. Both roles require sharp problem-solving skills, but the mindset and approach differ significantly depending on whether you are attacking or defending. While offensive and defensive cybersecurity may seem like opposite sides, integrating both approaches leads to a stronger overall security posture. Offensive findings, such as vulnerabilities discovered during penetration tests, can inform defensive strategies, helping teams patch weaknesses before attackers can exploit them. Collaborative red team, blue team exercise are a great example of how these two sides can work together. Red teams attack, while blue teams defend, and they're simulating real-world scenarios. And this collaboration helps both sides improve. Offensive teams get better at finding vulnerabilities, and defensive teams get better at responding to attacks. It's a continuous feedback loop that benefits the entire organization. So let's talk about emerging trends in offensive cybersecurity. One major trend is the rise of AI-powered attacks. Machine learning is being used to enhance offensive tools, making them more sophisticated and allowing for automated attack simulations. And this means that attackers are becoming faster and more precise in their methods. Cloud penetration testing is another growing area. As more organizations move their operations to the cloud, offensive security needs to adapt. And new tools and techniques are being developed to test the security of cloud environments. And similarly, Internet of Things devices, or IoT, are creating new attack surfaces, and offensive security is expanding to cover these vulnerabilities as well. On the defensive side, AI is also playing a huge role. Machine learning is enhancing threat detection and response, allowing defensive tools to identify patterns and anomalies faster than human analysts could. AI can sift through massive amounts of data and flag potential threats in real time, and it can improve both speed and accuracy. Another emerging trend is the shift towards zero trust architecture, and this model assumes that no one, inside or outside the organization, should be trusted by default. Continuous verification is required for all users and all devices, which creates a more secure environment. Security orchestration and automation are also becoming increasingly popular, streamlining processes to reduce human error and improve response times. If you're interested in offensive cybersecurity, there are several career paths that you can explore. Penetration testers specialize in simulating cyber attacks to find vulnerabilities. And this role requires a strong technical background and knowledge of ethical hacking. It's a hands-on technical career path that is highly rewarding. Another option is to become a malware analyst, where you focus on analyzing and reverse engineering malicious software. And this role requires a deep understanding of programming and system internals. And finally, you could become a red team lead, managing complex attack simulations and leading a team of ethical hackers. Leadership skills are important in this role, along with advanced offensive security expertise. On the defensive side, you can become a security analyst, where you'll be responsible for monitoring systems for threats and responding to incidents. And this role requires strong analytical skills and a broad knowledge of security technologies. Another option is to become an incident response specialist, where you'll lead efforts to contain and mitigate security breaches. If you're looking to move into a leadership position, you could aim to become a Chief Information Security Officer or CISO. In this role, you will oversee the entire organizational security strategy. It requires a blend of leadership, business acumen, and comprehensive knowledge of cybersecurity principles. Looking ahead, the lines between offensive and defensive cybersecurity are becoming increasingly blurred. Professionals are finding that having skills from both domains is necessary to stay ahead of evolving threats. The future of cybersecurity will require a holistic approach that combines offensive and defensive techniques for comprehensive protection. One of the key challenges moving forward is balancing the ethical considerations that come with greater capabilities in both offensive and defensive security. As the technology grows more powerful, And we need to ensure that we are not compromising privacy or legal standards. Security professionals must always be mindful of the ethical implications of their work. To wrap things up, offensive cybersecurity helps organizations find and fix vulnerabilities by simulating real-world attacks. It's a proactive approach that aims to prevent breaches before they happen. Defensive cybersecurity, on the other hand, ensures continuous protection by monitoring systems, analyzing potential threats, and responding to incidents in real time. We have also seen how tools like vulnerability scanners and firewalls are essential for both sides of the equation. Ethical hacking plays a key role in improving security without causing harm, and the future of cybersecurity will likely see a convergence of offensive and defensive approaches, creating a more holistic strategy to protect against cyber threats.